So hi everybody and welcome back to Unreal Engine 5 tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is video 137 and in this video we are talking again about accessing actors in our scene. And in the last video I stopped there by using variables which I made public available, which means we can access it through the details panel here when we selected first the blueprint which has exposed this variable to the details panel here in the viewport. So, and in my last video I had a mistake. You see that was there an error, and the error was actually that I used here at this point light, I selected this one, then I pressed right click on it, and then I converted this one to a validate get because we had an error like, let me show it again what the error was so that we are on the same spot. So the error was this one here, that was what I made, and the problem with this one is I check here just the component and not the blueprint. So let me show you first this error again, and let me see if I have selected this one here. So this one is not even selected. Oops. We have here this point light. What I have here on the ground. Oh, that was, yes, that was this one here with, I don't know. Was it this one here? Ah, not very important. Let's go here, select this one. Let's connect it this one. This is just a for each loop, and in this case I have here an what I have here, lamp selection. Here I have a light, and this light can be selected. Let's make this one. So I select again my my trigger, my collision box here, where my character will walk in, and then I have exposed this variable here on the right side in details panel. I made it available so that, for example, the designer or yourself can go here and select, for example, this light here, and select this other light here if he is interested. But you can see he can't select this static mesh here, or this one, or this other things here. He can just select this lights because we have defined the class. And the problem was when I started now this game, I walked in, you see it works, but the problem was when I stopped this game, bang, we had this errors, and I want to show you something else there and was not concentrated, and the mistake was here, this validate is okay, but not at this point here. This one here is a component, right? I showed you this when we go here to this light. What I'm checking is this point here, this light as a component, but I have to check this blueprint. And yes, that's the problem. So I have not checked here this this component. Let's convert it to pure get. Let's make it again a get normal. I have to check that this blueprint, the blueprint comes from this point, and from this blueprint I get this component, and from this component I set it visible or not. But when I check, I must check this blueprint if this is set or not, and then it works, which means I can check this one if this one is valid. I hope you know this valid here. Let me show how you get this one as well if you want to make it. So you can get out of this one, and the thing what you get out here is this element, one of these blueprints, and I write here validate, and then you have your two options. The first option is takes longer, the second option is faster. Let me show you. The second option is just a validate check. Then you have to create your own branch, for example, and then you can connect this one and make there more things. But the other one is a shortcut, which means it's faster. Just use the other one, in this case validate. So this one is faster, it's just all in. You can just connect it. If it's valid, here it's positive, it's valid, you say, okay, you can activate or deactivate the light. If it's not valid, do nothing. So, and with that said, that was the mistake which I made in my last video. And now you can check this. The lights are off, for example. You go off and on, and no mistake. And this is important that you set this one in the code, right? Because this code section is for a programmer, no problem. He can fix this, but most time a designer can, when a designer sees these errors, then he thinks, oh God, what happens? Is anything wrong or something like that? That's why we have to make this sure that this works. And yeah, we can continue the real thing. What I wanted to show you, normally in the last video there was one more thing, and now I can go to this one because my brain was already there. And let's do it in this video. All right, what is that? And actually, yeah, two things normally, but the other thing we already know, but the other thing we have to check a little bit out, which is, first of all, here I have created a variable, right? And I created it specially to this BP light, which means when I select my box here and I go here to this variables, and when I try to select something which is not a light, it shows me is incompatible. You can see this tooltip, right? It says incompatible, incompatible, and so it will only compatible with this light. But of course, you can create here an option, another variable, and say it is compatible with all actors in your scene. The question is why you would do this. And I will show you why. Because let's say you want to give your designer or yourself more flexibility. So you use all things, you can anyhow select all things in your scene. And then you can, yeah, use functionality without going again into your code and code it there. Which means you have to provide the code before you are working with your scene, right? That's the point. And how you can make this, and is there a problem? Yes, there is a problem. They are not the same things. Like I said, this one here, when I select in this example here, this one is a BP light, a blueprint actor, just this one here. But the other thing is a static mesh actor, this one here. Or this other thing here, what do we have here? Here we have a player controller. It's also not compatible. And now we can create a variable which is compatible with all actors in our scene. Careful, I say actors, there are still something. When it's not an actor, it will still not compatible. But let's make this. How we make this one? We go to our trigger box, because I want to make it selectable from this point again. And I will that the designer should select this one when it goes in, and he can do something here. This is just the one way to start. It must be not this trigger box, of course, but I make it with this example here. And okay, let's do it. How I make this, similar to the other variables that I made, I create a variable again. This time I call it actor access from level from viewport, or from viewport, not level, viewport. But this time it's an actor. Then I set the class, the type here. Okay, it's an actor, but normally you would go in and set the type to actor. And then here we have an actor. And then you can choose again here different files. Let's choose here start all time this object reference. And we use the same thing what we did in the last to make it visible here in this screen. We use this eyedrop, or you can go here to details and go to instance editable. Let's make it this one. Let's compile. And when you compile, you have, like the other variables which we created, when you select this actor here, a default value, but we can't set it. And we have to set it from the viewport now. All right. And what we have to do, again, similar to the other variable here, similar to this one here, is we have assign it, use it, and make a functionality about it. It's very easy. So we get this one, get the actor. It's this one here, similar to this one here. Let's make this one a little bit more, it's not so important right now. So, and then I want I have now my access variable and I want the same functionality like here, for example, but we have here a problem. Here, let's make a convert to pure get. You see, this one here is a lamp because I selected this one here, here on top, and here BP light is the right blueprint class, or let's say type. It's the same thing, but let's say type. And here I can call point light directly, but here I have actor. And if I try now to call this point light, this component, here's my point light. I want access this this light here because I want to turn it off or on. But now I have actor, I can't. Or let's test it. Point light, and it says there is no point light. Normally, when I make it here, what you do here is point light. I said if you want the component, scroll down, 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 down in defaults. And here is this component. Exactly here is something other. Point light. And we have here this utility cast to point light. But this one is the wrong one. Careful. We want a point light, but not this point light here, actually. What we want is, we want, for example, this point light here. This point light is what again? It is in my blueprint BP light, and then I go from my blueprint BP light to the point light. That's very important that you keep this in mind. That means I have cast to BP light, and now we need this cast node to BP light first, and then I can call this point light because now it is this light. It is a class of this light, and now I call the point light, and now I scroll down, 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 and there is this default variable here, exactly this one here, and I said exactly the same thing like here. Set visibility, and the same thing like what I did here, but the difference is here I need a cast, and then it works similar. So with that said, we can connect this one here. We can connect this one here. We are almost finished, and we can, what can we do? This one a little bit down so it's a bit more readable. And yes, I can comment this later. Normally I would now comment this here. Same, you can see the comments should be the same. Let's skip this so I don't waste too much time. And yeah, but here the difference is only this one here. Here I have the class directly with this other one. Here he got directly the class. Here I don't need a cast. I need here a cast. And then it's the same. This part is same. This part, the only difference is here I need a cast. So you should know what a cast is in this case. I will not talk too much about cast now. A little bit I will later, but let's finish this example. So with that said, let's test this, if this is working, what I tried. But let's see. First of all, save, start. I go in. There is something out, but I don't know if this is right. And so far it was good. But it's a little bit strange. Why is it strange? Because I have nothing assigned to it. That's strange, right? Normally I should assign to it first something, and then it should turn off the point light. And we can check if this is really working. We can say print string, and if this string is printing, let's say here, I am not assigned. If this printing and I'm not assigned, and I make the duration, because this duration here 2 seconds is too short, let's make it at least 5 seconds long, or 7, something like that, and compile save. Then I can see this a little bit longer. So when I start here, I go here and it says I'm not assigned. So this light what I have here is something else. Let's find this fast so we get not irritated. Probably I played here in the level blueprint a little bit, and let's select this one here. So let's test this fast again. Is this designing? Yeah, it was this one. So now we are on board. This was just a level blueprint. I tried there also something. We will talk about the level blueprint also in, not in this video, but soon, because it's very important. And yeah, so this one has a problem. It's not assigned. And it fails. The cast failed. It says I'm not assigned. So this one is nice info for the designer. He should assign it. Okay, let's assign it. How we assign it? Again, like before, I can select it. I go to the details panel. I go down. I find the variable name. It was here actor access from viewpoint. Okay, here in details panel, it's access from from viewport. Actor here, I have it. And we learned in my last video, this eyedropper is very nice. Of course you can use this one too, but takes a little bit longer. Depends if you can see this object directly what you want. And here the difference is now I can select whatever I want. So you can see the other example here. Let me select this other eyedropper here. This one can only select lights, which is exactly when nice when you work with lights and don't be irritated by other objects. But this one, what I have now, can select the eyedropper here, can select now lights, can select static mesh. I can even select my player controller here. I can all select what is actor. Here, is this an actor? Yes, but careful, not all are actors, but most things are actors. Most time what you can place in the scene are actors. That's why I can almost select all. Let's see if I can select this one too. Yes, I can select all. They are all actors. Nice. Can I select this one here? Yes, this one also. Interesting. There, what I use here most time are actor, at least inherited from actor, and we will talk about inheritance. But let's select here first our light to see if this is working. So I'm interested in this light here. Let's position this one here. And I have selected this light here. I start this one here. I go in, and indeed it is working. Nice. Then let's test this again with selecting something else. Well, oops, not this one. First select it. So how I select this again? I select this, my box. Here I have this variable access. Here I go to this eyedropper and I select this time, for example, this static mesh. And this static mesh is a gravestone. And now I save and start the game and go in. Nothing happens. Let's see. All right, so there was something happening. Have you see? You saw it, Purples? I go again. You see here on the left corner it says I'm not assigned. The funny part is this one is assigned now, but it is not assigned in the right thing, which means we should write here perhaps I'm not assigned on light, for example. Then makes more sense this one when I start this one here. Now the designer know I'm not assigned on light. Okay, so the question is now, that makes sense, but why we need this to know? Why we need this to know? The reason for that is, as a programmer, you can again make this one as an option. For example, you want work with all assets here in this viewport, but you are not interested to open up your level blueprint at all. You are not interested open up here at all your level blueprint. You want just work here in your viewport, which means you must make now all these variables available here in this details panel, for example, and then the designer or whoever wants, or yourself as a programmer, can select this fast change test and make without touching this code sections at all. So, but we have a problem, right? I mean, this was not working here. How I can now make that this is working, for example, with the static mesh, but the static mesh itself is not a light, which means this code here, what we have here, is not working. But still, it is working with this cast failed. You can make the check here, but this is not very important. You can go on from the check failed, or what you can do is, let's skip this one. You can just make a sequence here after this point here. Perhaps you know what a sequence is, which means it will execute first the first pin here and then the second pin in sequence. First the 0, then the second one, and which means I can, oops, I can connect this one to the sequence and say first execute, try this one. If this one works, that's good. If this one is not working, it will anyway fail here. The test will fail here, so nothing will happen. But now I'm interested actually about the static mesh. I want to give you options to do something with static mesh, which I have to predefine. So let's say, okay, I give you the option. What we go? Destroy the static mesh, just for so that I have not to code too much here. I want just show you the concept. So, and how I get this? First of all, I have again this actor, and you see I need just this variable which I created, and I can cast this time cast to static mesh. Cast this time to static mesh. If you are a static mesh, I can do with you something. Let's make here. Let's make it so that it's a little bit visible. So if you are a static mesh, then do, let's say, destroy actor. In this case, destroy. Of course, this is not the best functionality, but whatever. It's good for demonstration purposes. So let's destroy actor. And I skip here this documentation because this documentation takes a lot of time, which is not so important. I hope you get what I'm saying. Normally the documentation is nice, so you can just read later step by step what it's doing, but the video gets just too long. That's why I skip this part now. I hope you still can follow it. And yeah, so what happens here now is this is a sequence node. I still make the documentation come. It's very important for beginners. All right, let's say here sequence this one here will execute all from top to down. All right, that's the sequence node, will execute all from top to down. We have here this one, at least this one, which means it will make this one first, try this one, and then it jumps to the next sequence and try this one as second. Important here is it will try really this one first, so don't think that this one will try it first here, and that can anyhow, can be important, can be not. And yeah, with that said, we know this kind of stuff. And here, this kind of stuff I skip because this one is literally the same like this one here. And the only thing is here, let's write here a comment to this one. Can be assigned to any actor. That's very important because that could be not assigned in the other case. Here, in this example, we can't assign it to any actor, and here I can assign it to any actor. That's important. Then, if I assign it to any actor, I have to cast. That's very important too. Let's write here comment. You have to cast to a specific class or blueprint. Let's call it class here. Or let's call it blueprint because it doesn't matter. It's class and blueprint are the same. But yeah, you have to cast it for a specific class. Okay, we cast it to this BP Lite class, and then I copy this one here. Get access to BP Lite component. Let's copy this one. So and paste here. This one here. And let's copy this one here too. And paste it here. Because I'm not. All right. So now we know this one, but this time this one I skip here. Because now this comment, the most important comments is here that you can use a sequence, which you need to make an option and check what is assigned and what not. And then you need that you have to cast here, and you have to know that this one is the same. So here with that said is okay. Let's see. I hope you get this one so far. And in this one, the second one is just doing the same thing. It gets here this. Let's copy this at least and paste it so I have it. Can be assigned to anything. Copy, paste it. Oops, this should go back. This one here, and now I have this one here. and you have to cast to a specific class. And here, let's comment this. Now I have it. Let's comment this one answer and execute the functionality. Execute a functionality on this blueprint. And in this case, I just destroy this actor. And with that said, I think, let's see. Why is this so far? We have this one here. Let's select this one. Let's put it a little bit higher. And with that said, let's compile, save, start, and test. So I start this one. I go here. So before I go in, what I have to expect, I have to set. Before you go in, you have to make a use of that what we have set up, right? So we have to use this. Where is that? Why I have this L gameplay here? Let's go out. Light. I don't right now. Here, I make the use of this one. How I can make use of this one? Of course, I have to set this variable here. That's very important. This is our variable here. So let's see. I select this one. I go to my details panel, and now I can first select this one, and then I go to my details panel, and then here's the variable, and I can select, like I said, whatever I want, but I have functionality set for this light, and now I have a functionality set for a static mesh. Actually, this is also a static mesh, and this one is also a static mesh, so this works even on different looking static meshes here. That's interesting, but we have to test this. Let's test this with this cross. So I have selected this cross here now, and now I start, and what I expect is this one should be destroyed, and that's it. And that worked. Yes. And of course my arrows are back. And why my arrows are back here? Because I have here a strange double overlap probably. And you have to make just again a validate check. And where we have to make this validate check is where was this one again? Anywhere. Let's see, actor here, cast 2. And here you make here this validate check again. Oh, let's see. Let me read this. Where this one again? All time I make all time the same mistake here. Why I make this one? It says here attempt access static mesh via property actor, but static mesh is not valid. So pending kill. So it says here this actor is pending kill. So which means I should check here if I can access it to destroy, which means I make a validate check. That was the thing before this here. Check if this valid. So I make before this call here a check, and I write here validate. And of course not so. I should spell right validate. And it's not still working. Of course, I have to check on this pin here, the static mesh actor, not here on top. That's why it's not popping up. So I have to check the element, the static mesh actor. Now I have to write validate. And now you see we have the options here. Again, there's 2 options. We are using this one. And now you have to check this one here, connect this one here. And validate means if you have something assigned there, or it's not pending kill like here, because pending kill means it's not validate also, then you can access it and something like that. So compile, save, activate, use it, go in, it's destroyed, expected, no error here, perfect, nice. And one more thing, of course, we have now used the cast. Okay, let's write here a comment and say check if it's valid or pending kill, something like that. Like the arrow message, it says you are reserved to be killed, then you can't access it as well, something like that. So that's cool. That's cool thing. And then we save this one. And now what we have to know here is one more thing. And of course we can make the same as like the last one. We can make about it in an array. So what means an array? The same thing like here. We have here one element, just to choose one. Of course, the most time perhaps you won't work here with many elements. You want select here a bunch of things. Of course, what you do is instead of using of this one actor, make it an array. Let's make here a variable. Of course, you can change here directly this one to an array as well, but for this purpose I just make a variable because I want to keep them to show you other things as well. That's why let's create an actor access from Viewport, and you see I use the same name, almost the same name. I add array at the end, so I know this one is the array, but you can see I use again instant editable, and you choose of course again your actor for all accessibility. And here in details panel, again here in type, you change here it, for example, to array. If you know what a set is and map is, of course you can go for this one too. There are more specific. Array is very simple. And careful, this array is not the C++ array. I mean the standard C array. It is already an extended array, because here you can extend it. Normal C++ array you can't extend, at least not in an easy way. You have to copy and then reserve and other things like that. But that's not important if you are not interested in C++. Just a note. Yeah. Anyway, so we have now an array here. Array means you go select it, create this one, insert it, and then you go compile. And now here in your scene, you can now select more things, and that's nice. And don't forget, here's this actor access from Viewport. Okay, my name is very long. You can make it so a little bit. And now you can create elements, and that you have to know that the elements which you want create, you make here ++++. You can have more, and then you say I select for example this light, I select this light, I want to turn off this light, and I say I want destroy this actor, I want destroy this actor, and I want destroy this actor here in front too, just for fun. Why not? So, and now you start it. You go in, and here is actually one only destroyed. We have a problem, and not even the lights are turned off, right? So here, what is the problem in the code? It's not difficult to see. I forgot something very interesting. I have never used it. That was, I mean, I have never set a code setup for this one. And we make it fast this time. This time I don't write a comment, sorry, but that will take again too much time. Perhaps I copy the comments later. So I use the array. How we access an array again? All the time when you think about array, think about a loop, because a loop is most time the efficient way to get through all elements, access it. So here you can write get if you want access it specific, and then just bring here a value in it. But this one, like I said, it's possible too when you know how to get here the values and define it before you connect it this way. But we make it very simple. It should just go through all elements in this array which are defined. Let's make it like I have done this here below with the other thing here with the get all actor of class, and there was one with loop. Where is the loop version? For each loop, yes, we have used here the for each loop. It goes here, we put in the array here, then it loops all through elements, and then we set this up here. And the same thing we are doing actually here. So loop through all elements in the array. For each loop is one way. There are different kind of ways. Let's use this one here. So this one will loop through all elements. And what I have to do then is similar to this one. I have still to cast. So I get the element, and now I have still to specify what I want cast to. Cast to. For example, if you want the light, VP light, then you do this one. But actually, if you learn programming up at this point, it's similar. So let's see if I can be lazy and just connect it here. Yeah, why not? Let's connect it here. Or let's make it this way. Let's make it this way. That's also good. That's very cool. Just copy it here. Normally you can make a function or something like that, but we forget this. We just copy and paste it because I demonstrate this one. I optimize not this code. I just want to show you that you can do this one here. This one works not, but this one works. This is the loop body, and you have set this one up, and then you can, what can you do then? But let's say you want here like this loop, but let's make this one first, this one, and then we see how we can make this other one. So what you are doing here is just you go through all elements, and this element will be checked. Is this a BP light? If it's a BP light, if it's not a BP light, it will fail, do nothing. If it's a BP light, you can execute this functionality, which means it gets access to the point light and it will turn off. And the only thing what I have to do here is just, this is my start point. So my character walks into the box, it trim, and yeah, my character walks into this box, and then you can execute all this code here, what's coming up. And yeah, let's see if we can run it. And I think I have not set up all, but yeah, we will see it if it works. And here, of course, one thing I have to do again, I have select the object, and actually I did this already. So I have selected here many objects, which means I can start it, run it, and work that, or was this not working? Let's see. What was setting up, what we have set up. So here, access array, I have here BP light 2. Where is that? Let's see. I select this light here. I select this light here, and let's select all lights. Then I know I will turn off all lights. And I destroy the two static meshes here in front. But this one I have not set up. So the lights I have set up. Let's see. And yeah, the lights are working. And you can see the static mesh are not working because we have only set up here the lights. I need now, like similar to this one here, a sequence, and run the other thing like this one here. I think I skipped this part and doing this one. I hope you can do the same. What you are doing is here, you are just going here and make a sequence, and then you check this one again. Or you make the sequence here anywhere, here from this point. Anyway, what I want, I skip this part because I want to say this one is of course possible with that what we talked here in this section too. You can specify also all with tags. You can run this loop all time with tag specification. In this case, makes not so much sense because you are selecting them anyway here by hand, right? You are just selecting that what you want here by hand. But tick. And yeah, I think that's enough for this video. And what you should understand here is, no, there is one more thing. Yes, but I don't think that I'm telling you this one now. The thing is how this actor works actually. I want to show you what it means. All this kind of stuff are actors, and why we have to use a cast here. Because if you understand this already, it's good, but why we have to use a cast here and why we don't have to use a cast here in this case, in this other example. And the reason for that is, I mention it now, I will not explain it here. Like I said, all the things are actors, but all these actors are not the same thing, right? Here, this is an actor, but a static mesh actor. This one is my blueprint actor. This one is a player start actor. And because they are all actors but not the same, let's say, subclass, we have to cast it to this kind of thing, to the specific thing. That's why we have to use here a cast. But this sounds a little bit strange if you have no clue about programming. But in general, yes, I want to just mention this one. Perhaps I will explain this a little bit more later in another video, because casting and hierarchy, you have to know what the hierarchy is, actor, and then for example this point light, my blueprint, let me show you this one fast. When I right click here and go to this blueprint class, and you see we are selecting all time actor and then we create our blueprint. And it says here on top, pick parent class. This actor is our parent class and we make a subclass about it. For example, I select this actor. We most time call it BP. Let's call this one here base class. And when I open up this base class or any blueprint, you can read on the right side parent class, in this case actor. And then, yeah, but further I want not talk because that will lead to all hierarchy and so on. But important to know is, what was this one? Trigger activated, no, base class, let's delete this one here. Important to know is because they have all these actors here have a parent class the same. For example, actor, we can do this one here with our assignment and then we can cast to this specifically, and that's why it's possible. And if they have not the parent class, or if they have not a other, let's say not the parent, a little bit from the parent to parent class, it's not possible and so on. But yeah, just to mention, we will talk about this a little bit more later. So one more question, why I made this, why I showed you all this kind of stuff, because it will be interesting when we talk about interfaces as well. We will talk about interfaces in future, and this kind of stuff is how we can access. Let's make here this one here, and let's call this whole block what I showed you in this video, in the last video, let's write a command and say access from viewport. That was here, it's not visible, so access from viewport. I called all this kind of stuff here access from viewport. Here, when I compare it with get all actors of class, this one is not access from viewport, this is within the code, which means this version don't need the viewport. And the other version here, this one needs the viewport. So you see, one is code version, one is viewport version. That's important to know. And this is a preparation for understanding the confusion about interfaces and other kinds of stuff. I hope it was not too complicated. In general, this one is very simple, but yeah, but we need it to later distinguish more things. For example, here, our first distinguish thing we have here, this block and this block. These are two different access possibilities, which will be important, depends on what you make, and we will talk this later. And this one is just a demonstration that we have it, that I can talk later about it. All right, with that said, I stop here. If you have any questions or any complaints like all time, write it in the comments. If not, that's good. If you have some tips and tricks, write this in the comments as well, because I show you here not all, let's say, the best way. I show you only one way. There are all time millions of other ways and better ways, but this is just an introduction. I can say one more thing before I stop. Later, you have to profile when you are finished with your project. You have to profile anyway all. Profile means you check if you want performance, if you want code style, if you want, I don't know. You check and make all better with profiling. We have never talked in this tutorial about profiling. This is very important normally, but we will talk about this after interfaces, after the series of interfaces and this kind of stuff are finished. With that said, I stop here. Good luck, and in the next video we will still not talk about interface, because I won't show you also the level blueprint, which is interesting. One more note. I found again something. I find all time something which is important for beginners and starters. What is it? And the thing is, this is just one to mention. Beginners and starters hate this cast node, and the reason for that, why they hate it, is this object here. Let me write here, cast to anything. I don't know it. Oh, not to class. anything I set. Cast to BP, let's say gold. Oh, I have gold here. Interesting. So, and many beginners hate this object here. This cast node has an object. It says, find me this object, and many have a problem. And about this one, I will talk also a little bit in the next video. And I talked already here with get all actors of class, because this one will get all time the base class, so you can, or not with this one. Actually, you can get here this one. I have not showed you here a cast version. Is this right? Interesting. I have not showed you a cast version, but normally with this one you get here the object, and then you have already the cast here. All right, anyway, we talk about this cast also. This object is really annoying many beginners, and I think everybody was annoyed at start with this. What is this object and where I get this object and so on. We will talk about this one as well. And yeah, with that said, now I stop. See you in the next. Bye. Good luck.